So you say 80% of Ukraine is dark. There are still extraterrestrials, you say, who cannot shapeshift, who are fighting on the battlefield. Why don't you tell us exactly what's going on there before?
Yeah, yeah, I wasn't going to break that before, but Carrie Cassidy let the cat out of the bag, and she's also been on with my dear friend Patriot Dave. And so she's let the cat out of the bag that what's going on in Ukraine is actually an alien incursion. And it has been for a very, very long time underground, but now it's out in the open. They can't get the adrenochrome on the battlefield, so they don't care. That's why we've seen war footage, bloody, I mean, just ruthless, bloody, Vietnam, Korea, Afghanistan, whatever, World War One, on and on and on, World War Two. But now we don't see it. They blur out the bodies on mainstream media. Why? The reason is those are hybrids and actually ones that are full-blooded. So you've got Alpha Draco, you've got octopus kind of creatures, and the Greys and different like Starship Troopers, the battles on Mars they do with the insectoids are there too now. It's actually literally the Russians are fighting that. That's a big chunk of some of the battalions in the Ukrainian military are actually forces that are non-terrestrials. Like Medvedev did a Q&A, and in that Q&A, they asked him about Ukraine, of course. And as the main guy speaking for Russia, other than Natalia, forget her name, their main press representative, who's brilliant. But he said that what's in Ukraine is an alien heart, and that heart is soulless heart of darkness. I think, to kind of paraphrase, a heart of darkness for sure. I'm not sure if he said soulless. I think he did, but that's correct. And it's an alien heart. And so that's exactly what's there, and literally an alien heart, 100%, and as well as hybrids. And now, and of course, the most crooked country on earth and the largest money laundering operation in the history of the world. All of 97 billion from the U.S. so far. And the Republicans now, control Congress and are asking for an inventory and an accounting. Yeah, okay. Let's see if you can even do it, because massive amounts have been funneled to, Alinsky has 5 multi-million-dollar properties, one in Florida, one in the French Riviera, in the south of France, various other sundry places. Many, many people are making billions. That's why the Davos and the various heads of the EU and Vander Crazy, as Alex calls her, and Vander Pirate, they actually have now stated that Russia is a state sponsor of terrorism. And a brilliant ambassador from Ireland spoke, and he reminds me of Einstein. His hair's all over the place and white with the Irish accent. I love the Irish accent. And he was just saying, why don't you look at yourselves first? Because look at what you're doing to your people, and your allies. Like the U.S. goes and the MI6 blow up the Nord Stream. And it's incredibly obvious at this point. We've got I showed on deep dives, on the flash situation update I did with the flight paths and all that. Now I actually have video footage of the helicopters dropping the special forces divers and the Kearsarge in Baltop's operation, launching mini subs, and pulling up the divers, pictures of the faces of the divers. All of it is incredibly obvious what's going on. And so he said that, but, with this ninth sanction package, they're wanting to do a price cap. And that's, like, I also did a situation update and some interviews in which I showed a document from Rand Corporation, just the very beginning pages of where the Rand Corporation was saying they're going to do this. This was way years and years ago, where they said they're going to create a conflict in Ukraine, and then they're going to, through sanction packages, destroy the EU and impoverish Europe and the UK until you guys' financial systems utterly collapse, to bring over all of the industry to the US and bring back the strength of the dollar that way. And so now with the Smokey Joe's package, the EU, many of the heads of states of the EU are saying that's exactly what they're doing.
Of course.
US is doing. Yep. So, that's all tied to Ukraine and the alien-hearted darkness and all this. The Green New Deal and all of that, and carbon emissions and global climate change and all of this, and the NWO and all of that. Like Klaus Schwab said, Ukraine would be the end of the NWO. The NWO is the alien agenda. It is literally like the movies where, they infiltrate, like Kennedy said, they go in and infiltrate all of the governments and get this agenda that is to terraform our planet. That's exactly what they're doing.
Now, speaking of aliens, because I want to get into the financial system a bit more later on. Now, however, when you said that there's aliens, an alien heart, and there's things going on from other civilizations that have come into our, into our atmosphere, if you like, who are participating in this thing. How do we know that this is actually going on? And have the people of Ukraine, the general public, have they witnessed this with their own eyes?
Yeah, they have. Not the general public in the west part of Ukraine, in Kiev, for example, but all of the Azov forces and the people in Kherson and all of that, Zaporozhye, all of that area, absolutely. So, and of course, the Russians abandoned the West Bank and went to the East Bank of Kherson. So 40% of it was left empty. And the mainstream media, victory, took Kherson, West Kherson. You didn't take it. There was no resistance at all. You just rolled in. And then they shelled the bejeebers out of the place. And all of the people they removed a massive amount of civilians. The ones that left behind, I did an interview and Jimmy Dore showed it on his show where, when they're coming into Kherson, this guy, the CNN got kicked out of Ukraine because they videoed where a guy gave a Sieg Heil kind of salute in Ukraine, in Kherson. And then also two little girls did it. And then he actually showed, if you think it's just, here and there, a few people. He showed a football game, a soccer game, and instead of the wave like we do in the U.S. that went around the stadium, just put your hands up and down, they did the salute, the Sieg Heil, Third Reich kind of salute, and it went around the entire auditorium. I mean, and they're all doing, in Ukrainian, whatever they say in place of Sieg Heil. And so it went around. So it's a Nazi regime. They literally want to tear down Catherine the Great. I think they actually already have passed that, and will be doing that in Odessa, and put up Bandera. So Bandera's problem, he was so freaking rigid and nasty that Hitler got rid of him. It was like, you're too over the edge. It was like, you're too over the edge for Hitler and Goebbels and these people. It's like Kevin Spacey when go to Epstein Island, or when Zachary Sitchin went to Bohemian Grove, they were freaking out because they're over the edge. They're so over the edge it freaks and scares them. Like, wow, you must be beyond comprehension evil. So that's what the person they actually, worship, and they teach their children this from a young age. So the Ukrainian that were left behind in Kherson are completely trained from childhood to have that mindset of racial purity and, eugenics and all of that. And so then when they pulled out and the Ukrainian military with these non-terrestrials came in, now the Soviets are shelling the bejeebers out of the place. And so, again, it's an alien heart of darkness they're denazi, whatever you want to call it. So keep my mouth clean here.
Sure. So how did they even come on this planet? You said they came from underground. And when you say there are a few of them, are you saying that there's 2 or 3 or 4 of them? Or are you saying that, there's an army of them?
There's full battalions.
There's 4, sorry?
Full battalions. Battalions about 1,000.
Okay. And are they grays? Are they green reptilians? Are they tall? Are they short?
Mixtures of everything that got left on this planet. The
Right,
Alliance
I
is
see.
cleaning a lot out of the dumps, and many like CERN over CERN when they brought CERN on back before the Alliance got it cleaned it up. A portal opened over Geneva.
Who's the president of the United States?
Biden.
What do you think of Biden?
He's an asshole.
You might find out who you